If you've clicked on this video, you're interested in how you can start making a lot of money through Fortnite or even make it your career. You've made a good choice in choosing this video because not only have I made thousands myself through the game, but I also have a finance background. In this video, not only am I going to list all the income streams you can make through Fortnite, but I'm also going to tell you how you can build them up so they pay you more and more each month. If you're new around here, I make videos to help you improve, so if that sounds like something you want to do, make sure you're subscribed with them notifications on so you don't miss any more tips. Method 1 is probably the most traditional and it's what everyone was striving for, and it's in-game earnings. The frequency and price pool of cups isn't what it used to be, but since the changes there has been some newer players that have still made a killing through the game. Take for example EU Pro Pixie, who has earned nearly $400,000. It's too much to include in this video and a bit off topic, but if you want a separate guide on how to go pro, then make sure to let me know in the comments. Like I mentioned, there is a few downsides to this method now, and it seems like the prize pool you can earn is getting less and less each season. And unless you're a tier 1 like Peterbot, it's incredibly hard to earn week in and week out. And then even when you do earn, you then have to wait a few months for Epic to even pay you, and then you get taxed a hell of a lot. There are services that reduce the amount of tax to be paid, but you do also have to pay for these, so it's only worth it if you're earning over that amount. Even when the prize pools were good and pros were making generational wealth, most of them still had multiple income streams. This is because it increases the amount of money to be made, but also they aren't relying on one source if that dries up. So let's get on to the next methods they were using. Method 2 is being in a Fortnite org, and most pros are also earning this type of income. This is because they are the most appealing for orgs to pick up, because the main way that orgs make their money is through sponsorships that want to get seen. So guess what? They're going to go for players who have a large presence and drive traffic to the org and sponsors. Take for example Peterbot, who's in Falcons. He's obviously got a huge presence, as well as he's placing on top of the leaderboards every week with Falcons in his name, and he's wearing all their kit to the lands. By getting the top names from multiple esports titles, they're one of the most known esports teams. This means their sponsor Red Bull, who are paying them, are getting bang for their buck as they're getting good advertisement. This is the income stream that you really want to get because it's consistent and you get a fixed amount every month, which gives you security. Just like this is similar to a job, you also want to carry yourself in the same way. Make sure you stand out from other candidates, but also make sure you remain professional all times, so don't be that guy who's posting inappropriate things on his Twitter, because no org's going to want to pick you up. So you may be asking how you increase your presence, and this leads nicely onto the next method. Streaming is not only a great way to grow an audience, but you can make a lot of money in the process. Usually there's a correlation between the two, and the bigger streamer you get, the more money you're going to make. However, small streamers just starting out aren't going to have either of these luxuries. If you're too money greedy, people will see straight through it and won't follow the channel, and you won't grow. However, if you're money driven and watching this video, sometimes you get too focused on the numbers and then you forget to actually monetize what you're doing. As you know, this video is about money, so I'm going to be focusing on that side of things. The main ways to earn when streaming are people paying to subscribe to your channel, donations from the viewers, and then the platforms you're streaming on also pay you ad revenue. For subscriptions, the streaming platforms actually do a good job of incentivizing people to subscribe. You can have things like sub-only VODs and chat, but you can also create your own emotes that people can use. But there's still going to be a lot of competition because, for example, Twitch Prime subs, you only get one per month, so why is someone going to subscribe to your channel rather than someone else? Donations are a bit harder to get because there isn't as much incentive behind them. They're mainly based on generosity, but there is a way to get more. You can have donation goals for something the viewer would want to see, i.e. shaving your head. And the main thing is just to be a nice and appreciative person. If you have really wholesome reactions to even little donations, more people are going to be more willing to donate. And for ads, you'll know yourself. If there's too many, you'll click off the video or stream. So experiment and find a good balance where you're going to be making a bit of money through ad revenue, but not too many that you're going to be losing viewers. Also, the timing is really important. Say you're playing a game of Fortnite, you don't want an ad to be rolling in endgame. Instead, do what a lot of pros do and roll it manually when you're queuing for a game. Similar to streaming, the next method is content creation. They actually work hand in hand because the streaming platforms don't have good algorithms that naturally bring people to your page. So what people do is use socials like TikTok to bring people and traffic to their streams, and vice versa. Some people's content is literally just stream highlights, and you even have the big streamers paying people to make clip accounts. There's two main income sources within content creation, one in app and the other other external. In-app is basically where the social media platform like TikTok or YouTube will pay you ad revenue. The amount you're paid will be your video views per 1000 times your RPM. This is a metric the platform uses to judge how much you should get paid per 1000 views. To earn a higher RPM, it states all the generic things like your video should be of higher quality and original. However, me and many other creators think it's random and unreliable. Take for example this video of mine that done well with 100k views, but my RPM randomly dropped to under 5 cents and I barely made any money. With all this being said, this income should not be relied on, although you are going to want your videos to do well, so just think of this as a little side bonus. As I mentioned, the other method is external, and what I mean by this is you can get paid outside the app with opportunities like sponsorships. Sponsors will pay you to promote their product to your usually large following. You'll get way more opportunities if you're the one reaching out to the brands instead of waiting for them to discover you, because you're competing against thousands as content creation has become very saturated. If you haven't got the faintest idea on this, or you haven't got the confidence or the skills, don't worry, there is also agencies that basically hook players up with sponsorships. However, they will take a percentage, so if you can, or at least learn how to do it yourself, it will be way more beneficial, and it's also going to be an amazing life skill. Some popular sponsors within Fortnite are gaming products, energy and focus drinks, creative maps, and applications like Crosshair X, famously promoted by Mongrel and Mr. Savage. Obviously, if you have a big following and lots of traffic, it can be redirected to other income sources like creator codes. When Ninja peaked, he said he was making 5 million a month just from creator code. Although not every one of your followers is going to use your code, so make sure you plug it everywhere to increase your chances. But again, you'll need to create reasons why people should use your code instead of other creators. I do neither of these, and I'm sat at a grand total of 0 supporters. There is one other method that's a bit more rare, but it's when organizations are trying to get into the Fortnite scene and will pay you to make Fortnite videos for their page. I've done this once as an agency reached out to me and said ESL are wanting to expand their Fortnite presence. So I was making 4 videos a week for them and posting them on their channel in return for payment. Again, it's all about finding these opportunities. So if you see any brands slowly sneaking into the Fortnite scene, or it would be interest to be in the Fortnite scene, make sure to reach out for them and you may get this opportunity too. To grow a following as a content creator, you basically need to be providing value each video for people. You could give them tips and tricks like myself. You could keep them updated and release the latest patches before anyone else. Or you could be one of those channels that uploads funny Fortnite videos and makes people laugh. The next method is UEFN, and it's basically creating Fortnite creative maps. Fortnite publish every year how much these developers make, and as you can see, it's insane. There are thousands of people on the lower end making money, but when you get up to the higher end, there's nearly 100 people that have become millionaires and 5 people that are making 10 million plus a year. However, although there's crazy earnings potential, not everyone is able to do it. If you have 0 experience, this is probably going to be the hardest method, because it is actually a whole new skill you need to learn to be able to make maps. I tried myself and spent hours trying to put my first and only item in the map in the correct place. However, it's the 21st century and there's so much resource out there for you to be able to pick up anything new. So if this is the method for you and you really want to get into map development, make sure to take the time to learn it. But make sure you're consistent and stick with it, because it probably will take hundreds or even thousands of hours to learn. If you're constantly learning and developing this skill, you're going to be able to make maps quicker and overall better, which is obviously going to increase your earning potential, which is usually split out in 2 ways. Epic pay you themselves based on how many players play your map each month, or other people or organizations that maybe can't make maps as good as you will pay you to make maps for them. This way may be better if you're a really good map developer, but you're not so good on knowing what maps to make, or you don't have the audience to direct traffic to your maps. Just make sure you negotiate a fair split. You can go for more upfront payment, or you can get a percentage of the map earnings. Making successful maps all about knowing what people want to play, and it's more than okay to take ideas from other top performing maps. Similar to this, it's important that you keep up to date with current trends. Around the release of Squid Games, the Squid Games maps on Fortnite were blowing up. The last method is business within Fortnite, and this is not only going to set you up with amazing business skills, but it's also going to have insane earning potential. To simplify things, I'm going to subcategorize this into 3: product, service, and outsourcing. Product is obviously when your business is going to be based around selling products. This can be tangible, which is physical goods like mouse pads, mouses, and keyboards, and intangible goods, meaning you can't touch them within Fortnite, so things like drop maps and masterclass. To sell products, you need to have the best value for money or have the best quality, and it also helps to have a unique selling point to set you apart from your competitors. The alternative is selling services, and instead of this time selling physical goods, you're going to be selling your time. The most common services within Fortnite are coaching, thumbnail designers, and video editors. It's the exact same principle as I talked about in the product sales. You could be one of the most affordable editors and get lots of sales that way. You could be one of the best video editors out there and charge a higher price. Or your USP could be you have a unique montage editing style that no one else uses, and people will come to you for that reason. And the third business model within Fortnite is outsourcing. This is basically where you aren't an expert yourself with any of the methods I mentioned. However, you do have a good understanding of the game and also business. How this works is you pay people to do work for you, but then you take the money home that their work makes. For example, there's now a lot of businesses that have seen how lucrative map creation is. So what they're doing is paying people to make maps for them, and then also getting creators to promote the maps. So outsourcing two different types of skills, but then they're going to take home the profits from that map. Even if you don't want a fully outsourced business model, it still is important to understand that you will need outsourcing to scale your business. This is why even the top creators like Cypher outsource things like video editing and thumbnail creation. People don't know Cypher because of his thumbnails, they know him for his videos and personality. So if he was doing everything himself and at max capacity but wanted to create more content, by outsourcing the non-critical tasks that I mentioned, he'll have more time to do the things he's the expert at and the core activities like video creation and streaming. I really want to know who's serious about making money, so if you're still here, make sure to comment rich so I know who the true grinders are. With all that being said, that does wrap up today's video. I hope you learned new ways to create money through Fortnite, but you also not only see it as a game, but a money opportunity. If you do, this means I've done my job, and I would appreciate if you could like and subscribe in return. It's free, but it also means you won't miss any of the awesome tips I've got on the way.